So I want to transition to the MLB playoffs. Again, this is one of those Monday mornings, and this is why I love fall so much, and especially the month of October. So much is going on. Now, obviously, the major fight, those aren't always scheduled in the month of October, but you've got the MLB playoffs. You got the thick of the NFL season, right in the thick of it. The NBA season is just around the corner, is going to be starting, I believe, a week from tomorrow, the 18th or 19th, whatever day that next Tuesday is on. That's the first day of the new NBA season, which I cannot wait for. The Lakers played in the postseason, but the MLB season and the postseason is in full swing right now. It's the NLDS. It's the Dodgers and the Giants. Finally, we get that matchup. It's tied 1-1. I didn't have a show before the start of the NLDS, so we are playing a little bit of catch-up here. But 1-1, Dodgers and the Giants. They're returning to Dodger Stadium after playing at Oracle Park on Friday and Saturday night. And first of all, this is the first time ever that the Dodgers and Giants are meeting in the postseason. It's the first time ever that two 105-plus win teams are meeting in the postseason. And this is a rivalry that dates back to 1890, over 130 years, when both of these teams were located in different boroughs in New York. You had the Giants located at the Polo Grounds in Manhattan. The Dodgers were located in Brooklyn, of course, for the longest time. And then what happened was in 1957, the Dodgers owner, Walter O'Malley, decided he wanted to relocate the team. He moved to Los Angeles for financial and other reasons. And Horace Stoneham, the owner of the Giants, already had plans to move the Giants out of New York, potentially to Minnesota. And O'Malley came in and to preserve the rivalry said, hey, come out west. And Sacramento and LA were the two fiercest economies in California. So it naturally fit to be the new locations of the Dodgers and the Giants, and that's how they preserve the rivalry. And so it's amazing that in all this time, this is the first time that they're meeting in the postseason. And of course, through the first two games, the Giants took game one 4-0. Great pitching by Logan Webb, just a 24-year-old guy, absolutely dominated the Dodgers. And then the Dodgers responded in game two with a 9-2 shellacking of their own. But let me first say this, because again, I didn't get a chance to talk about this before the show on Wednesday, which is the last time I had a show last week. It was the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. I was previewing the wild card game. The MLB got saved by the Dodgers on Wednesday night last week, because to think that here we have the Dodgers, who had won 106 games, having to play in a single elimination, a do-or-die game, a wild card game against the St. Louis Cardinals just to reach the NLDS. The fact that they nearly lost that game is preposterous and further highlights the faultiness of the MLB postseason, because there would have been incessant diatribes and harangues and criticism, huge shrapnels of criticism aimed at the direction of the MLB and their executives had the Dodgers missed the postseason. Not because we don't want to credit the St. Louis Cardinals, but because you have the second best team in baseball that happened to be in a division with a team with 107 wins as opposed to 106 in your same division, and now you're relegated to the wild card game. So let me first say that. But we got what we wanted. It's the two best teams in baseball. It's been that way from the very beginning. And it's great that they're facing off, not only for the rivalry, it's great for the fans, it's great for the networks, and it's great, honestly, for the game of baseball and the MLB, because they need marquee names, they need marquee players and teams and storylines to be revolving around these organizations, and especially in the postseason time. That's what you hope for. And this is an epic postseason matchup, but as to be expected, the Giants won game one. But I do want to say this, and obviously it's Max Scherzer versus the former Dodger Alex Wood tonight. Game 3 being played at Dodger Stadium should be a fantastic matchup. I do think that the Dodgers have the better pitching staff and have more talent, which I'll touch on in a second. But I've always wanted to say this, and it was further highlighted and I think elucidated a bit more since Game 1 that the Dodgers lost 4-0 to the Giants. I've always shared this feeling and confided to my friends how bizarre it is to me and how mind-boggling it is to me that teams in baseball celebrate with champagne midway through the season, or when they clinch the pennant, or in this case, when they win a wild card game. Because think about the timeline of all this celebrating. The Dodgers won the wild card game on Wednesday night. They're celebrating with champagne, and they're popping bottles, and they're getting obliterated and smashed Wednesday night. In less than 48 hours, you got to play a high-intensity playoff game on the road in San Francisco. So you know Thursday night, after you've just been drinking all night Wednesday night, Thursday is not going to be a productive day. You're going to be hungover, and the next day you got to go play a high-intense playoff baseball game. It just makes no sense to me. I've never understood it. And again, it's not just the Dodgers. Every team's been doing this for years. And it just doesn't seem like a smart, prudent idea. I understand you want to take a second to appreciate the season that you've undergone. But it's always kind of surprised me, and it's just befuddled me that they do that they celebrate this hard in the middle of the postseason. It just never made sense to me. But what stood out was the bench of the Giants. And what we're seeing is that the Dodgers are a star-studded team. They're a star-heavy team. So if their starting rotation isn't on offensively, like was the case in Game 1, well, then they're going to get exposed, because the Giants have so many more guys that they can plug in off the bench. Brandon Belt goes down. They've got guys that can fill in and be just as productive. And the Dodgers are a little bit thinner on their bench. They rely much more on their starters and their starting rotation, which when it's on, it's the best starting rotation in baseball. They've got arguably the best, if not the second best, pitching staff in baseball, and their bullpen is fantastic. So that's where they're going to have the edge, is their bullpen. And again, you got Scherzer going tonight in Game 3. Game 4, I'm not sure if it's going to be Tony Gonsolin or potentially Walker Buehler. Buehler will have had he pitched in Game 1, so that was Friday. So you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4.5, 5 days off. They might throw Gonsolin out there and then kind of ride their bullpen. And I think ultimately it's going to be the pitching at home combined with just the star power that I think is going to propel the Dodgers not only in Game 3. I think they're going to close this out in Games 3 and 4. The fact that you've got 2 of the next 3 games, basically it's a best of 3 with 2 games at home if you're the Dodgers, and the first 2 games are at home. And so you got to take care of business. It's a perfect opportunity. This is a team that I think got that monkey off their back last year, just being able to win the World Series. And the fact that they had to come back trailing against the Atlanta Braves in the NLCS. I think this team's a lot tougher mentally than we probably give them credit for. I'm sure there was no desperation in that locker room or any worry in that locker room after Game 1, because they came out and romped them in Game 2. So I think Game 3 tonight is going to be the big turning game. If the Dodgers can find a way to pull out Game 3, which I believe that they will, given that I trust Scherzer much more than I trust Alex Wood, then they take care of Game 3. I think they close it out in Game 4.